Hello there, Sharks. I'm here today with Alex, the Assassinado Fitzgerald. You been assassinadoing anyone recently?
I've had my good days so far in this series. Not as many as I'd like, but yeah.
The World Series is tough. How do you come out here, grind, stay focused?
You try to hydrate quite a bit, and it's
Oh.
never quite enough. You try to work out quite a bit, and it's never quite enough because you're in the middle of a desert. But yeah, just keep it moving.
I got in the gym 2 times since I've been here. That's
Yeah.
good for me. If you have 2 little babies running around, you don't get to go to the gym anymore.
Yeah.
I used to go to the gym every day, and I got into the gym about half the days I've been here.
Oh, just make them into kettlebells, the little kids.
I
guess
actually do that.
Yeah.
I figure as long as I can overhead
Yeah,
press
you're
the
fine.
kids,
Yeah.
I'll be okay. So far, I can still do it. Probably not for long, though. All right, so let's take a look at this hand. This is from the Mini Main Event. How did you think the caliber of play was in the Mini Main Event?
Well, that's actually something I wanted to discuss with you here. So I picked a number of hands that we could discuss today because I was very interested in how much you can change your game when you play live. And part of that was what I was dealing with in this Mini Main Event. There was a number of guys that seemed really just casual about calling down, and there were other guys that seemed a little bit different than that, and perhaps we'll get into that as the quiz comes up.
Well, to be fair, for some people, $1,000 Mini Main is a warm-up for the main event.
Yeah, it's a
For
quarter.
For other guys, it's like the biggest tournament they're ever going to play.
Right, exactly, and it's hard to separate who is who right from the get-go.
It is, especially in this particular tournament, because in the $10,000 main event, everyone kind of cares a little, right?
Somewhat.
Very few people are just like, I don't care at all, right? Because there's prestige wrapped up in it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this tournament, there's some prestige, sure, but not like the main event. And also $1,000 may be this player's biggest tournament they ever played, or it may be their 44th tournament they played this series,
Right.
and they're over it. So anyway, let's take a look at this hand. You have pocket jacks, you raise it up. Low jack, then 3 bets minimum, close to minimum, small. You make it 6, he makes it 11. So right off the
Yes.
bat, this is the nuts.
Yes, this is so. Low Jack here so far has just been agitated. He seems agitated. He called for a masseuse and looked like I really need a masseuse right now. Really going after his drink. Really looking. Got caught bluffing already once. So that's what we're going in with to begin here.
Maybe this is not the nuts then.
Yeah.
So my
exactly,
default
right?
read is always when we get a small re-raise like 600 to 11 or 6 to 9 or whatever, I'm thinking, okay, this person's going to give me amazing pot odds and they just don't care.
Exactly.
But if the guy's enjoying his drink and getting a massage and he's kind of annoyed and flustered or whatever, then this could be who knows what.
Yeah, he's having a different day, to put it mildly.
Fine. All right, hijack then cold calls. When you see a raise and a regular size 3-bet, cold calls are usually pretty good hands, but when it's 6 and then 11, 11's not actually all that much. I think this will be wider. Should be wider because he's getting a better price than if it was a 600 raise and let's say a 2,000 3-bet, right? All right, fine. Back to you. Do you ever just pop in the 4-bet?
That's a really good question. I did not consider that because I assumed this was either just 7-5 suited, I'm messing around, or it's just aces, in which case, if I 4-bet here, all of his bluffs go away. And I guess that's fine, but I think I could make a little bit more money from flatting, and if he does have aces, that's going to go pretty bad pretty quick.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And in this scenario, you don't really know if it's the garbage or the nuts.
Yeah.
Right? And sure, the 7-5 is going to outdraw you sometimes, but you really don't want to be playing big pots against aces.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm just trying to get to the showdown cheaply with the jacks, right?
Yeah, typically, yeah.
And to be fair, say you do re-raise to whatever amount. Let's say you make it 4,000, then the guy makes it 8.
Mm-hmm.
He could still just be messing around with a 7-5 suited. I don't know.
That's actually a really good point. It's going to be hard to track.
Right, so you call. Oh, small blind called as well? Oh my god, everybody's in
Yeah.
this pot.
It's a fun day.
All right, you flop the top set. Small blind checks. Obviously, we're checking the top set.
Yes, sir.
We don't need to talk about this one at all. Low jack then bets 2,000. Fine, good, whatever. Hijack then raises to 5,000, and it gets back to you. Now, this is a weird spot. You know what? I want all of you who are watching here today, pause the video, take a second, and think about what you would do in this scenario. Do you have any reads on the hijack?
That's a great question. The hijack has been a bit more of an action player. I'm not really sure where he was from, but he definitely had a little gamble in him.
Okay, so fine. Do we call? We're not folding. Do we call? Do we re-raise the minimum? to 8? Tiny click back. Do we make it a little bit bigger to something like 12? Or do we just go ahead and pile the whole stack in? 60,000. Take a second, pause the video, and write what you would do in the comments section below. All right, well, we're not folding, and I think we're not ripping it in. That's be way too many chips. So our options here are call, re-raise tiny, or re-raise a little bit bigger than tiny. How do you feel about these 3 options?
Well, what I would typically do here online, and most of my play tends to be online versus not very good competition, what I tend to do here is just call and allow them to keep firing whatever has struck their fancy at this moment.
Because they're drawing basically dead.
Exactly.
With whatever they have.
Yes, very good point. And yeah, there's nothing they could really have here. And if it's set over set, the money's going to get in anyway on this blank of a board, most likely. But I wanted to ask you, in live situations, what is it you look for that makes you fast play here? Because it just hit me like a rock that this guy is ready to go. Raise again. But I can't really tell you what that came off of, what I saw, what led me to believe that. Is there anything you typically look for when it comes to physical behavior or tone of voice or anything like that that lets you know that?
Usually you want people who seem like they're playing, right? They're not just like, whatever. You want people who are perked up a little bit. You want people who ideally have not been gambling all that much, who are now all of a sudden popping their money in, right? Like if a guy doesn't play any pots and then he all of a sudden starts making it 5K here, all right, you probably have the nuts. Sometimes you can just look and tell the guy's really serious. Maybe the guy who bet 2,000 in other spots where you've seen him bet 2,000 and get raised, he's just kind of done with it. This time he's just not done with it.
That's a really good point.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, you have to view these 2 people as different, because one bet and got raised, the other one raised a bet. Right? So when the guy in the hijack raises the bet, if he looks like he's not messing around, very much not messing around, then you probably have something good. It's tough to know, though, because you ask what I look for. Sometimes you just know. You just know.
I think you're right though, because LoJack looked hyper-focused this hand. Like something was coming up, and hijack looked like he was having fun. I didn't really think much of his raise, as odd as that sounds. But yeah, I thought we had to put in another raise here, which is not something I would typically do, because it kind of has to be a set once I raise there again, right?
Yeah, I mean, you must have the nuts. The thing is will your opponents care if you have the nuts?
That's the greatest
question. A lot of people
question.
Don't. Because, like, if he has aces or kings, he may just pop his money in anyway. It doesn't make a difference. So I think if we think the LoJack is the one who likes his hand, I think I would still just call, because you really want the LoJack to re-raise. Whereas if you re-raise here, you're announcing set, right? And if you announce set by making it whatever, any amount, 8K, 12K, whatever, even the most densest opponents will realize, oh my god, this is it. This is a setup. I'm playing the mini main event. Maybe they care about it, maybe they don't.
Right.
I'm not trying to go broke early in this tournament, and then they'll fold their aces. And to be fair, imagine the guy has aces, kings, queens, whatever. If it goes, and it's weird 3-bet pot to begin with, bet, raise, re-raise, and it's on you, you should be folding basically everything. Especially when there's no draws available. So, I don't know, it's a tough spot where the re-raise, I think, is really ideal against the hijack, who maybe has a hand like, I don't even know, queens or something, and you want him to splash a little bit more money in. I think if I'm targeting the LoJack, though, I think I'd rather call and give him a chance to think, all right, I'm going to lock up this pot and rip it in, or re-raise, right? Really good point. I think 12 might scare him, but you make it 12, and then it doesn't scare him. He still goes all in. So that means my initial logic here is at least wrong in this instance, right?
Well, I mean, of the sample size of 1, yes, but
yeah. Well, you get enough samples of 1, you got a sample of 7.
Right.
You know, you get enough of these spots, and then maybe it's just true. But like, seriously, maybe you can just tell. I mean, I played a hand in the main event the other day. Well, I actually didn't play it. I was watching a hand where this guy bets the flop on king queen 9. He raise button, big blind calls, king queen 9. Guy, big blind checks. He continuation bets. Big blind check raises. He immediately just rips it in for a load like this, a lot of big blinds. The guy tanks forever and folds king queen for top 2 pair face up on king queen 9, which is the guy wants to put all of his money in. What's he got?
Right.
Except for this guy had aces, and he thought aces was the nuts, and he even showed he was like, yeah, I had it, good fold. But he didn't understand hand values whatsoever, right? So in this scenario, I don't know what the low jack has, but unless it's fours or twos, it means he doesn't understand hand values. But you have to presume that is going to be the case against players as they get worse and worse, right?
Right, and the lower the buy-in, the more players like this you're going to find.
For sure. So anyway, well, we get a rip it in. That's good.
Yeah, it works out this time.
Hijack figured it out. You know, another neat thing here is that imagine Hijack does have pocket twos. And it goes, you call the 5, right? You call 5K. This guy sits here and still rips it in with his aces. And he has his pocket twos. Now he's like, well, guess I can't fold because now you don't have jacks or fours.
That's a good point.
And so he may still put it in. But I mean, to be fair, when it goes 12K all in, like, what do you think they got? Somebody has jacks and somebody has presumably something else very good.
Assumed, yeah.
Like, you're looking at a set, and like right here, understanding hand values, probably the pocket twos is just a fold. But if it goes 5K and then all in, now he has to be less worried about you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That said, you played it perfectly this time. You got
all
the
one time.
I mean, but so this is this weird thing about playing against players who are not all that great. Like if you seem to get what you want the vast majority of the time, you're probably just doing it fine and good and not making an error, right?
That's what I'd hope. Yeah.
It's tough to know. It's tough to know. It's tough to know what is optimal whenever you don't have any great information or very unclear information.
Right.
Anyway, guy has aces.
Yep, decided to go for it.
Handed you a load of chips early in the tournament. Did you win the tournament?
I did not, unfortunately.
Brutal. It's hard to win World Series of Poker tournaments. Yeah. All right. Maybe next time. That's going to be it for today. If you enjoy this, make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons below. Also, click the notification bell. Where can people follow you?
Go to pokerheadrush.com and sign up for my daily newsletter.
Awesome. We will put an email below, or an email. We will put a link below. You write an email every day.
Yes, I do.
I don't know very many people who write emails every day. You're a workhorse. You do good job, good work. If people like you, pokerheadrush.com. I have a lot of students at pokercoaching.com, and Alex is one of their favorites. So, good job on that.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves, and we will talk to you all next time. How would you like to have one of these championship bracelets from winning a major poker tournament? Well, here, I have plenty. I'll give you one of these. Oh. Couldn't quite get it to you. Instead, you're going to have to win your own. To get started, click the subscribe button.